Thousands of Cubans turned out to greet Pope Francis today. Ahead of his arrival in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, the Pope touched down in Havana aboard his plane that always flies under the call sign Shepherd 1. Alan Pizzey was on board.
The theme of his trip to Cuba is Missionary of Mercy. In his arrival speech, Pope Francis hailed the new relations between Cuba and the U.S. as a sign of the victory of the culture of encounter and dialogue. He called on political leaders to persevere in this path, as in his words, an example of reconciliation for the whole world. And in a direct reference to religion in Cuba, Francis asked his welcoming committee to give the church the freedom, the means, and the space it needed to bring its message to what he called the existential peripheries of society. A primary aim of the Pope's visit here is to give encouragement and hope to Cuban Christians. But a senior Vatican official with intimate knowledge of the trip noted that references to the need for change will be veiled, not least because the Vatican believes that it can make more progress with the Cuban government by being non-confrontational, at least in public. However, the private exchanges between Pope Francis and Cuban leader Raul Castro, who are no strangers to each other, are expected to be more pointed, especially on the issues of greater freedom and human rights. It's understood that the Pope could also ask for a meeting with the so-called Ladies in White, a dissident group representing families of political prisoners. The most significant of the 26 speeches Francis will give during his 9-day trip will be at the UN and to a joint session of Congress. According to the Vatican source, Francis will emphasize his opposition to the death penalty and renew his call for open arms to welcome immigrants. He'll also, as the Vatican source put it, promote with enthusiasm the Catholic model of the family and press home his ideals of economic justice. That's, of course, all based on the official version of the drafts. But as Vatican officials constantly warn those of us who cover Francis, with this Pope, always expect the unexpected.